The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Pain Free Today with your host, Denis Thompson. Brought to you by Worldwide Advanced Medical Technologies, LLC. Call 954-256-0045 or online at painmanagementnetwork.com. Here you will learn how to eliminate your pain. You will learn about a revolutionary new therapy called the ARP Wave System, which treats the neurological origin of pain, not the symptoms. You will learn how to increase your range of motion and how you can move freely without pain at any age. You will learn how you can try one free treatment from one of our local providers. Denis Thompson has 25 years' experience working with top athletes and non-athletes of all types. He has treated thousands of patients with better than a 95% success rate. His list of athlete clients reads like a who's who of the sports world. Listen and find out how the ARP Wave System can benefit you. And now, here's your host, Denis Thompson.
Good morning and welcome to Pain Free Today. I'm your host, Denis Thompson. And what I'd like to do today is I've been asked to share with you a phone number to where you could call in and ask questions. And we'll try our level best to get you on the air, but we do have a lot of material to cover. So if you've got a pencil and paper handy, let me give you that number. It's 888-565-1470. If you're a patient or you're a doctor, we urge you to give it a try, and we'll try to get you on the air and answer any questions that you might have. What I'd like to do today is expand upon many of the topics that we've been talking about over the last number of weeks. And one of the things that I'm consistently asked is just exactly what is neurotherapy. And the ARP Wave System is neurotherapy. And what neurotherapy is a therapeutic system, totally different than physical therapy, and it deals with the neurological origin of the physiological symptoms or issue. Example, what we mean by that is that wherever you have pain is where the problem ended, not at all where the problem is coming from. So anywhere in your body, wherever there's pain, that's where that signal is ending up. That is not where the signal is coming from. What neurotherapy does is it identifies very, very quickly where the origin of the problem is and begins to treat the origin, not the symptom. Now, if you're in pain, if you have a restricted range of motion, if you've been told that you need to have surgery, if you've had surgery and just aren't getting back to where you want to be as fast as you want to get there, or if you've had a failed surgery, this program could be invaluable to you, because what we're going to be discussing today and over the many weeks to come is how you can see for yourself if neurotherapy is going to help you. And we're setting up providers all over South Florida, providers being doctors, surgeons, chiropractors, osteopaths, naturopaths, anyone who is addressing the issue of pain, restricted range of motion, or surgical intervention. And we're setting up the nation's largest network of professionals to administer our service, neurotherapy, to their patients. Now, why in the world would you want to do this type of therapy as opposed to any other? Well, you wouldn't. This is done in addition to everything else you've presently done. So again, if you're in pain, if you have a restricted range of motion, if you've had a surgery and you're not where you want to be, or you've been told you need to have a surgery, you really, really need to see if neurotherapy can help you. And the way to do that is simply give us a call locally at 256-0045. Tell us who your doctor is, and we'll tell you right away if your doctor offers neurotherapy. If he does not, we would strongly suggest that you contact your doctor, ask him if he'd be interested in you being treated with neurotherapy in his office. No cost to you, no cost to the doctor, just to prove and to show both of you how neurotherapy can help you. So just exactly what is neurotherapy? Well, it's a three-part program, a three-part, three-step therapeutic program. And it's based on a very, very simple premise, and that is everything in your body is controlled by your nervous system. And up until now, up until the time you hear my voice, more than likely, if you've been to a doctor, if you've been to any type of therapy whatsoever, that therapy has addressed where the problem is, not where the problem is coming from. Think of it this way. Every single test that we have, every imaging test, X-rays, MRIs, CAT scans, ultrasounds, they all do exactly the same thing. They tell you where the problem is. They do not tell you where the problem is coming from. What neurotherapy does is it addresses the neurological component of that process. And how it does it is quite simple. The first thing we have to do is identify, is the nervous system, which we'll call in this case our software system, is our nervous system sending the right electrical signals to the muscles in the body to allow the muscle to do what it's supposed to do, which is absorb force. Your muscles are designed to be your shock absorbers. If they are not absorbing force, other parts of your body are absorbing that force, and they're not designed to do that. So sooner or later, you're going to have a problem. So if you have a joint problem, you do not have a joint problem. I'm not saying you don't have pain in the joint. I'm just saying that that's where the problem ended. It is not at all where it's coming from. So in neurotherapy, we look at things on a neurological light, not a physiological light. So we're not going to treat where the pain is. We're going to find out where the pain is coming from, because it's always going to be a completely different area of the body. Always. It will never, ever be where you think it is. So the first thing that we do in neurotherapy is we identify, is the system sending the right signals? If it isn't, well, then we've got to turn the system back on. And it's as simple as turning a switch. So if I came over to your house today and I turned off the main power in your building, and you came home tonight at, say, 11 o'clock at night, and you flipped the switch thinking the lights are going to come on, they're not going to come on. So if your neurological switch has been turned off, no amount of therapy is going to solve the problem, because it's like trying to put light bulbs in your house with the main power off. So what is the main power? How do you turn that switch on? Well, it's real simple. We've created a system by which we identify is the switch on or off, and we do this with a very simple test. And that test is 100%, and I mean 100% predictable. If we go into any home, if we go into any business, if we go into any professional athletic organization, high school athletic organization, college athletic organization, any group of people, and we test a volume of people, over 85 to 90% are going to fail the test. What is the test? Well, what we do is, in neurotherapy, we look at the muscles being the outward expression of the nervous system. And if the muscles are incapable of absorbing the slightest amount of force, then we know that the nervous system is not communicating correctly to those muscles. So the test takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll know beyond a shadow of a doubt, is your system working the way it's supposed to, or isn't it? If it isn't, we've created a technique utilizing our proprietary tools and our patented equipment to basically turn that switch back on. And the way we do that is we send a signal directly into the muscle, which mimics what your nervous system would normally send if it was capable of doing it, and we're kind of jump-starting that muscle. Your nervous system is capable of communicating to your muscles at roughly around 2 times a second. Our proprietary technology is capable of communicating to your muscles at 500 times a second. So we're going to get there a lot faster. And in 3 minutes' time, we've got 120,000 messages saying that your muscles are doing what they're supposed to do. And in that period of time, the muscle immediately responds to that therapeutic protocol. So now we have the muscles doing what they're supposed to do. They're now acting as a shock absorber. They're now absorbing the force that has been going to your joint. Now it's going to the muscle. And the second that happens, the second the force is transferred out of the damaged tissue into healthy tissue, your pain and your sensation immediately change. Now, if you don't believe me, it's real simple. If you've got knee pain right now, this very second, and you're sitting in a chair, and your knees are at a perfect right angle, and you stand up, staying in that perfect right angle, you will not have knee pain. Now, to prove that, since I know you can't stand up out of that chair in a proper order, just go over to a doorway, open the door, grab a hold of the doorknob, one hand on one side of the door, one hand on the other side of the door, and here's the rules. Your arms have to be fully extended, your torso has to be fully erect, and you bend down, and your knees cannot, under any conditions, go forward of your ankles. So in other words, your butt has to be way back, and your upper body erect. And the minute you're in that position, there can be no force going into your knee. And if there's no force going into your knee, you are not going to have pain in your knee. It's just that simple. All we did is transfer the force out of your knee back into the muscles where they're supposed to be. Trouble is, you can't do that on your own. Trouble is, physical therapy can't get you to do that on your own. Why? Because it's not a physical problem. It is a neurological problem. And since it's a neurological problem, we have to break that problem neurologically. And when we come back, we'll discuss exactly how we do that.
Individuals who have been unsuccessful in eliminating their pain are invited to obtain a free ARP Wave System treatment. Register now on our website at painmanagementnetwork.com to arrange a free ARP Wave System treatment from one of the doctors in our ARP Wave South Florida provider network. You can also call 954-256-0045 in order to schedule your free evaluation and first treatment. Contact us now at 954-256-0045 or visit our website www.painmanagementnetwork.com and register to begin a new life pain-free. The ARP Wave Provider Network is also currently looking for doctors to join our network. We have an increasing number of patients who are looking for doctors to perform treatments using the ARP Wave System to help them eliminate pain they are experiencing. Contact us now at 954-256-0045 to have a representative come out and see you, or visit our website, www.painmanagementnetwork.com, and register for an appointment with one of our representatives. Once you are in our network, we can start referring you patients located in your area looking for doctors performing ARP Wave System treatments.
We are back, and I am your host, Denis Thompson, and you are listening to Pain Free Today. And prior to the break, we were talking about neurotherapy, the ARP Wave System neurotherapy. And we gave you a little exercise to do. If you have knee pain, we told you that if we could transfer the force out of your knee into your muscles, that you no longer would have knee pain. The problem is, as we said just prior to the break, is you can't do that on your own. And the reason you can't do it on your own is you created a neurological pattern. And that pattern says, if my knees hurt, I don't do this. And if you don't do that, your knees aren't going to hurt. But yet they do. So why do you change the way you walk? Why do you change the way you move? Why do you change all of those things? Because you and your brain are designed to protect you. If it hurts, you're not going to do it. So if it hurts to walk upright, you're not going to walk upright. If it doesn't hurt as bad to walk with a stoop, well, then you're going to walk with a stoop. A simpler analogy is if you sprain your ankle on the right side, you're going to shift everything to the left side. And if you take medication and you have no pain whatsoever any longer, you're still in the same pattern. Why? Because you created a neural pattern, a neurological pattern that we call a compensation pattern in medicine. A compensation pattern is nothing more than you moving away from pain. And it is controlled by your nervous system. It is controlled by your nervous system. It is not controlled by your brain. So, all of a sudden, if we change that focus, if we change that energy from going into an area that hurts into an area that doesn't hurt, and your brain picks up on that fact, cognitively, you pick up on the idea that it doesn't hurt anymore. And then we retrain you over and over and over and over again to move correctly, to drive that force into a different part of your body where it doesn't hurt. And now that becomes your new pattern. Guess what happens to your pain? It goes away. Now, you've heard many of our commercials say, you can move pain-free, no matter what age. How in the world can we say such a thing? Because we know that if we neurologically retrain you to move correctly and transfer the force out of the damaged tissue, out of the joint, out of the tendon, out of the ligament, that you are going to be able to move without pain and without drugs. What are drugs doing for us? They're making us more comfortable. By what? By creating a mask over the problem. And they're extraordinarily effective at doing that. The minute the drugs wear off, the problem is there. Doesn't it make more sense to get rid of the problem instead of masking it? I think it does. And that's exactly what neurotherapy does. Excuse me. Neurotherapy is going to do what you can't do because you can't change a neural pattern by yourself. It's impossible. We can. And there's only one way to know for sure if that is true, and that's to go through the therapy. And if there's no cost, if there's no obligation, and there's no way it can hurt you, then why in the world wouldn't you try it? I ask that question to every single patient I see. What do you got to lose? So if you're listening to this right now, you've got a doctor. My guess is your doctor does not offer this therapy. And the reason I make that guess is because we're just now reaching out to doctors. Prior to this time, we did the therapy ourselves, and we did it all over the world. We treated over 75,000 patients all over the world. We've treated the most elite athletes all over the world with better than a 95% success rate. The reason your doctor doesn't know about us is because we did not include your doctor in that conversation. We now are. We have enough credibility, enough studies, enough established clientele to where now we can expand into your doctor's office and offer this to every single patient who is moving in pain, changing the quality of life of every single patient, of every single doctor. That's a pretty broad statement. But again, there's only one way to know for sure if this therapy is going to work for you or not, and that's for you to try it. So what I'd like you to do is call your doctor after this show. Ask your doctor, point blank, if they offer neurotherapy. If they say yes, set an appointment immediately, and there will be no charge, no cost, no obligation, no insurance forms will be filled out. We will give you that one treatment to prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt if we can help you or if we can't. And the reason we can do that is if your switch is off and we turn it back on, it's instantaneous. We'll know and you'll know if we can help you. If we can't help you, we're going to know within 15 minutes, not 5 years from now. We're going to know in 15 minutes if we can't help you, and we'll tell you we can't help you. Conversely, if in that 15 minutes we know that we can help you and you have a sudden reduction in your symptoms, you're going to know. And no amount of studies, no amount of published articles, no amount of referrals are going to change the fact there's only one way you're ever going to know, and that's to try it. So after this program today, call your doctor. Ask them if they offer neurotherapy. If they do not, ask them if they would be interested in having you be treated with neurotherapy in their office. You'll set it up, no cost, no obligation to them or you. The goal of that program would be to show you and your doctor that neurotherapy can help you and every single patient that the doctor sees. And again, there's only one way you're ever going to know if it's going to work, and that's to try it. And if it costs you nothing, you cannot possibly hurt yourself. If it's found to be safe and effective, and if it's worked on 75,000 other people, my guess is it's going to work on you. But again, there's only one way to know for sure, and that is to literally reach out and try it. Now, if you're in an area where outside of South Florida, and we do not have a representative in that area, well, then this is what I'll do. You call your doctor. You ask your doctor if you can be treated by neurotherapy in his office, and you contact us. What we'll do is we'll send equipment directly to your doctor. We'll send the doctor everything that the doctor is going to need to treat you. We will treat you by getting online, on Skype or some other vehicle, FaceTime, Skype, whatever, and we'll walk the doctor or his staff step by step through the program on how to treat you. At the end of that treatment, the only thing that we ask is if it does what I say it does, you tell the doctor you'd like to start treatment. And if you're the doctor and it does what we say it does, we'd like you to become a provider of ours. That's as simple as it gets. But again, there's only one way you're ever going to know if this therapy can work for you. and that's to try it. So if you're in the local area, call 954-256-0045. And they'll set up a time with one of their providers only if your doctor says he's not or she's not interested in having you being treated. If your doctor says yes, they would like to have the treatment done in their office, then let the folks know at that phone number so we can get all the information that we need to set up the doctor. If you'd like to do it over the Internet, you can go to painmanagementnetwork.com. Tell them your doctor's interested. Give them the doctor's information. They'll contact the doctor, get you set up. If you're in the South Florida area, we already have reps there. They'll go right out to the doctor's office, set up an appointment with you and the doctor, and they'll treat you at no cost and no obligation. And I can assure you, you are going to be astonished at what you find. Why? Because everyone, up until this point in time, has worked on where your symptoms are, not where your symptoms are coming from. And it's nobody's fault. It's just that we only know what we're taught. And we're not taught neurotherapy in medical school. Just not. We're taught physical medicine. We're not taught neurological soft tissue medicine. There is no such training. We're training doctors all over the world in this therapy right now. So a year from now, I'll never have to hear, why doesn't my doctor know about this? The reason your doctor doesn't know about it right now is because we just started reaching out to the doctors. And the reason we didn't reach out earlier is because we did not have enough credibility, we did not have enough studies, we did not have enough validation. We do now. Again, we've treated over 75,000 patients with better than a 95% success rate. I could go on and on and on about some of the most elite athletes in the world that we've treated with literally phenomenal results. It's not magic. It's not a panacea. It doesn't cure anything. It's a therapy. And it's a therapy quite unlike physical therapy. But it is a perfect complement to any type of therapy you have ever done. And again, there's only one way you're ever going to know if it's going to help you, and that's to try it. Listen carefully to how you can try neurotherapy on your own.
Individuals who have been unsuccessful in eliminating their pain are invited to obtain a free ARP Wave System treatment. Register now on our website at painmanagementnetwork.com to arrange a free ARP Wave System treatment from one of the doctors in our ARP Wave South Florida provider network. You can also call 954-256-0045 in order to schedule your free evaluation and first treatment. Contact us now at 954-256-0045 or visit our website www.painmanagementnetwork.com and register to begin a new life pain-free. The ARP Wave Provider Network is also currently looking for doctors to join our network. We have an increasing number of patients who are looking for doctors to perform treatments using the ARP Wave System to help them eliminate pain they are experiencing. Contact us now at 954-256-0045 to have a representative come out and see you, or visit our website, www.painmanagementnetwork.com, and register for an appointment with one of our representatives. Once you are in our network, we can start referring you patients located in your area looking for doctors performing ARP Wave System treatments.
Welcome back to Pain Free Today. I'm your host, Dennis Thompson, and we've been talking about the ARP Wave System neurotherapy and how you can try it at no cost or obligation. One of the things that I'm consistently asked by medical professionals, by patients, and by just common questions that we get on the internet almost every day of the week. And the first question is, what is the difference between neurotherapy and physical therapy? Well, I'll give you the best answer I can possibly give you, and I'll use some analogies to outline the differences. Physical therapy is an extremely professional program. The people who are physical therapists have spent a tremendous amount of time learning how to help you on a physical level. In other words, where the problem is where they're going to be working. They're going to be working with getting your muscles to do what they're supposed to do, move correctly. They're getting you to do the techniques necessary to give you a quality of life that you normally would not have, and it's literally an invaluable therapy. However, the word physical in front of the word therapy differentiates it between neurotherapy. Physical is addressing the physical side of the equation. Neuro is addressing the neurological side of the equation. So let's use a simple analogy that I would imagine that everybody will understand. And we'll do it a couple of different ways. The first way is we'll talk about someone who has a broken arm. So let's say you have broken your arm. And let's say that you are put in a cast and a sling, and you're going to be in that cast in a sling with your arm at about a 90-degree angle for about 6 weeks, 6 to 7 weeks. And at the end of 6 to 7 weeks, the doctor's going to take the cast off, and I'm going to ask a very simple question. Are you going to straighten out your arm? Well, the answer is no. Well, why aren't you going to straighten out your arm? Well, the reason you're not going to be able to straighten out your arm is because your brain is telling your arm that that's where it's supposed to be. And so what the physical therapist or the athletic trainer or the occupational therapist or whoever is doing the therapy, their job is to get your arm to be straight. Your job is to get your arm to be straight. And that's going to be a very, very difficult task for a while. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable to try and get your arm to straighten out, but eventually it'll happen. So let's say that you normally would go through 4 sessions. And generally it's going to be a lot more than 4 sessions, but let's just give you the benefit of the doubt. And at the end of 4 sessions, after fighting the arm and getting it into extension, it finally is there, and then it goes back a little bit. So it's really not fully extended, but it's pretty much fully extended. We'll just say it's pretty much fully extended. So why did it take 4 sessions? Well, the answer is because we're fighting a neurological signal that says the arm is supposed to be in this position. And every time you pull down against the arm to straighten it out or go into extension, what happens is you're fighting the signal that says, no, I'm supposed to be here. So the key word is you're fighting a signal. What type of signal is that? That signal is a neurological signal. That signal is saying to you and reinforcing the fact that that signal is protecting you. And it's protecting you because you've created a 6-week neurological pattern that says my arm is supposed to be in this position. And every time you try to get it out of that position and into the extended position, you're fighting that signal. And the harder you fight that signal, the more difficult it is to get your arm to be extended. With neurotherapy, what we do is we look at what muscles are designed to straighten out your arm. And we know that those muscles are not getting the right signal. They're getting a signal to protect. They're not getting a signal to extend. So we have to change the signal. And in neurotherapy, not in 4 sessions, but in less than 10 to 15 seconds, we change the signal and the arm straightens out without discomfort. That is the difference between physical therapy and neurotherapy. And together, they are an unstoppable force. Separately, they each have their own benefits. One is on the physical side, one is on the neuro side. So let's use another analogy. Let's say that the physical side works on the hardware of your computer. And let's say the neuro side works on the software of your computer. Most of you listening to this program today probably have a computer. And at some point in time, you've had a hardware problem, which required someone to change out the hardware. And at some point in time, many of you, or most of you, have had a software problem. Now, if you have a software problem, would you go to a hardware solution? The answer is no. And if you have a hardware problem, the hardware person works on it. If you have a software problem, the software person works on it. But they work in harmony together. Not in medicine, we don't. The hardware person is the only person working on it. There is no software person until the ARP Wave System came about. And the ARP Wave System is the software system. It is neurotherapy. It is the software which drives the hardware. It is the mechanism which drives everything in your body. It is the software that drives your computer. Your computer, in this case, is your body. So neurotherapy works on the neurological origin of the signal which is causing the physiological symptom or problem. Another analogy. As healthy as you are right now, if you put your arm in a 90-degree angle and kept it there without a cast, without a sling, and it did not move for 6 weeks, whether you have a broken arm or not, you are not going to straighten out that arm. And the reason is because you created a neurological pattern that says this is where my arm is supposed to be. So why doesn't everybody use neurotherapy? Why doesn't your doctor know about it? Well, folks, the reason your doctor doesn't know about it and the reason everybody else doesn't use it is because it's not taught in school. It just is not taught in school yet. Now, we're working on that, and it's a very, very unique situation. When we were treating all the patients that we've treated, every single one of them had a doctor. Every single one of them went through physical therapy. Every single one of them went through some other form of therapy before they came to us. And every single one of them were told there's nothing else they could do. So that's who our patient population was. Now, why didn't we start working with doctors right away, quite frankly, we didn't have the credibility. We didn't have the studies. We didn't have the outcomes that we do now. And unfortunately, unless you do have that, you cannot get an audience with a doctor. Right now, we've got quite a bit of credibility, quite a bit of audience, and we've got tremendous studies and results from those studies. So now we have a platform by which we can reach out to the doctors. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We're reaching out to anyone who is in the medical profession, anyone who's addressing people in pain, people who have restricted range of motion, people who have conditions that no one else has been able to figure out what they are, stroke victims, spinal cord injuries, concussions. All of these issues can be addressed, not cured, can be addressed. Physical therapy doesn't cure anything, nor does neurotherapy. Neurotherapy is a therapy, just different than physical therapy, and it works in conjunction with physical therapy. When you go and take your computer to a computer place, let's say you go to Geek Squad. They work in harmony together. The software guy works in harmony with the hardware guy, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we would like to see. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. But you know what? If we all have the same goal in mind, and that is for you, the patient, to be able to move freely without pain and without drugs, then eventually that will happen. This therapy can help you. But there's only one way you're ever going to know if it's going to help you, and that's to try it. And if it costs you nothing, there's no obligation, and you can't possibly hurt yourself, then why in the world wouldn't you try it? So my action plan for you, call your doctor. Ask your doctor if you can be treated with neurotherapy in his or her office. If they say no, contact us immediately and we'll put you in touch with a provider in your area. We'd like to have your doctor be your provider, but if your doctor says no, give us a call at 954-256-0045, and we will basically set an appointment with you with a doctor in your area to allow you to experience neurotherapy for yourself. Listen carefully now to how you can try neurotherapy. No cost and no obligation to you.
Individuals who have been unsuccessful in eliminating their pain are invited to obtain a free ARP Wave System treatment. Register now on our website at painmanagementnetwork.com to arrange a free ARP Wave System treatment from one of the doctors in our ARP Wave South Florida provider network. You can also call 954-256-0045 in order to schedule your free evaluation and first treatment. Contact us now at 954-256-0045 or visit our website www.painmanagementnetwork.com and register to begin a new life pain-free. The ARP Wave Provider Network is also currently looking for doctors to join our network. We have an increasing number of patients who are looking for doctors to perform treatments using the ARP Wave System to help them eliminate pain they are experiencing. Contact us now at 954-256-0045 to have a representative come out and see you, or visit our website, www.painmanagementnetwork.com. www.painmanagementnetwork.com and register for an appointment with one of our representatives. Once you are in our network, we can start referring you patients located in your area looking for doctors performing ARP Wave System treatments.
Welcome back to Pain Free Today. I'm your host, Denis Thompson, and let me ask you a question. What if you could move freely without pain? Would that change your life? What if you could have an active lifestyle without pain? Would that change your life? What if you could live an active, high-energy quality of life at any age? Would that change your quality of life? Of course it would. Why aren't you? The technique, the technology, the therapy is out there. All you had to do is dig. And if you're listening to this show, then you're on the right track. But again, just as we said earlier, there's only one way you're ever going to know if this therapy can help you, and that's to try it. So, what is so unique about this therapy? How long does it take? How long is a session? Well, let me kind of take you through a session. You would come into your doctor's office, and if the doctor is in the South Florida area, we will have one of our trained representatives come in, bring in our proprietary tools and equipment, set up shop in the doctor's office, and we will start by putting you through a series of tests. First test we would do is see if you could absorb force. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're going to have you lay down on a table. You're going to raise your legs straight up in the air, bend your toes back a little bit. You're going to resist, and we're going to put very light pressure on your shin and see if you can keep your leg in that position. Now, if you think that sounds easy, let me tell you that 70 to 80% of you are not going to be able to hold your leg up in that position, no matter how strong you are. I've done this on men that squat well in excess of 700 pounds, and I took my pinky finger and put their leg down. Strength and ability to absorb force are dramatically different. Strength is a physiological property. Ability to absorb force is a neurological property. I'm checking to see, can you absorb force? I'm checking to see, does your nervous system work correctly? So we're going to test each one of your muscles to determine if your muscles are doing what they're supposed to do, which is act as shock absorbers. If you fail the test, then we have to utilize our proprietary technology and techniques and basically turn the switch back on, which is going to allow the muscle to do what it's supposed to do. That takes literally 3 minutes to do. And how do you do that? It's real simple. We send a signal directly to the muscle, telling the muscle it's working even though it's not. By the time 3 minutes are up, the muscle now has been told so many times that it's working that it starts to work. That's why we're so extremely successful with things like stroke victims, spinal cord injuries, concussions, MS. Just because your brain can't tell those muscles what to do doesn't mean an external brain can't. So the first thing we do is we test to see, is your nervous system working? If it isn't, we get it to do what it's supposed to do. The second thing we do is we go in and identify all the damage caused by it not doing what it was supposed to do. So how do we do that? We scan your body with our proprietary tools. And what we're looking for is we're looking for all the damage caused by your muscles not doing what they're supposed to do. We're always going to start where you tell us it hurts. So if your wrist hurts, we're going to start right at your wrist. We're going to turn the scanning device up to where you can feel it, and you're going to give us an indication of what you feel. And once you do that, we are using your numbers, not ours. 10 is high, 1 is very low, and we're going to scan your body. But we're always going to start where it bothers you the most. And the reason we're starting there is because you know that's where the problem is. That's where all the tests say the problem is. But you already know that. but you don't know where the problem's coming from, nor do the test. So what we're going to do is we're going to scan your body. We start at that point, and we end up someplace completely different, and that'll be where the signal is coming from that's causing the problem in the area that hurts. Once we find that area, then we do the very same thing and scan we go right back with another scanning electrode. We put it right back on the wrist in this case, turn up the power, and we ask you, is it greater in intensity or less in intensity than what it was when it was someplace else? And then we scan your body with that electrode until we find the end of the trail. And again, it'll generally never be where you think it is. Now, once we get to those points, well, then we begin step 2, which is the therapeutic step. Now we have to fix all the damage caused by the muscles not doing what they were supposed to do to begin with. So now we're going to put you through another test, and that is we're going to have you move, and we're going to have you mimic a movement that normally bothers you. So if it normally bothers you to walk up and down the stairs, you're going to walk up and down the stairs, and you're going to give us a number of what level of discomfort that was. If standing bothers you, if sitting bothers you, if coming out of a chair bothers you, whatever that movement is, that's the movement we're going to test you in. And we're going to get a baseline number from you. So let's say the number is 7 or 8 every time that you raise your leg up to walk up and down the stairs. It's a 7 or an 8. Or let's say on your wrist, every time that you grab a gallon of milk out of the refrigerator, it sends pain of 8 or 9 to your wrist. Or let's say opening a door bothers you. Well, then you're going to be opening a door. So now once we have the baseline of what bothers you, once we see your movement pattern, which will definitely be compensatory, which means you're definitely not moving correctly, well, then we now have a baseline. We have a baseline of what it feels like when you make the original movement. We have a baseline of how you make the movement, and we have a baseline of why you make the movement. So now we begin to change your positions, your movement pattern, and your neurocompensation pattern. We change it all. We do that through a therapeutic mechanism. So we are going to attach our proprietary equipment directly to you, and we're going to have you mimic a movement that normally bothers you. And in a minute you see that that movement no longer bothers you, guess what? You're now no longer afraid to make that movement. So you're no longer, if your wrist is bothering you, you're no longer afraid to grab a hold of the door and open and close it. You're no longer afraid to grab that gallon of milk. If you see you can do something, you will do it. If you see you cannot do something, you will not do it. We are going to show you that you can do it. And if you can do it, then you can do it. It's just that simple. So we're going to go through the therapeutic process of putting you through active range of motion, breaking down your compensation pattern, neurologically creating a new pattern, so you now move freely without pain. And the third part of our system is to build up your body's total value of being able to absorb force. Now that therapeutic session is going to take, for the first time, it's going to take roughly about 45 minutes to an hour. So block out 45 minutes to an hour. And in that period of time, you're only going to be doing therapy with our proprietary techniques and technology, probably 15 to 18 minutes. The rest, we're just going to be asking a lot of different questions and giving you a lot of different tests. Simple things like watching you move, watching you walk, watching you stand up, watching you sit down, watching you roll over on a couch, watching you get up from a laying position. Why do we need to do that? Because we need to know how you've been moving, because that is a pattern. And every time you move that way, every time you favor one side over the other, you're creating a neurological message that says, I have a problem. If we change the way you move and we change that habit and give you a new habit, the new habit is now saying, I do not have a problem. That is what's called neurological re-education. And that is exactly what we do. And it is very, very quick. Quick meaning in 15 minutes, no matter what your symptoms are, they're going to be less. No matter what your restriction is, it's going to be greater. So if you can't open and close your hand, or if you can't raise your arm above parallel, or if you can't walk without pain, at the end of that 15 minutes, 95% of you are going to be able to do the opposite of what you have been able to do without pain. Now, that's a pretty broad statement. Well, the reason I can make that statement is because I've seen it happen 75,000 times. So I already know what's going to happen. This is a 100% predictable therapy. If you do this, this is what happens. If you do this, this is what happens. There's no other therapy in medicine that I know of, and I'm certainly not trained in all disciplines by any stretch of the imagination. I am not a doctor. There is no other therapy that I know of that's 100% predictable. This therapy is. If it's predictable, and we know the end result, then why in the world wouldn't you try it? Until next week, this is Dennis Thompson, your host. Listen carefully to how you can live pain-free today.
You've been listening to Pain Free Today with your host, Denis Thompson. Denis is the creator of the ARP Wave System. Send in your questions for next week's show to questions@painmanagementnetwork.com. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.